Men are giving up on dating because, for many of them, the modern dating world feels like a rigged game they can't win. More and more men are quietly stepping away, not because they hate women, not because they don't want love, but because repeated rejection, comparison, and disappointment have convinced them that trying isn't worth the emotional cost anymore. And when you look closely at what's happening beneath the surface, it starts to make a lot of sense. One of the biggest reasons is the growing attractiveness gap created by modern dating culture. Dating apps didn't just change how people meet, they changed how people evaluate each other. On these platforms, attraction is reduced to a few photos and a swipe. Studies have shown that a large percentage of men are rated as below average in attractiveness by women, while a small minority of men receive the majority of attention. For many men, this creates the feeling that no matter how kind, loyal, or emotionally available they are, it simply isn't enough to even get a foot in the door. Imagine repeatedly putting yourself out there, only to receive silence. No matches, no replies, no feedback. Over time, that silence starts to feel personal. Men begin asking themselves, "What's wrong with me?" And when the answer seems to be everything, motivation disappears. Dating stops feeling hopeful and starts feeling humiliating. This dynamic becomes even more intense on dating apps, where competition is constant and invisible. Men tend to initiate far more often than women, sending messages and likes that mostly go unanswered. Data has shown that men direct much of their attention toward a smaller percentage of women, while women concentrate their attention on an even smaller percentage of men. The result is a lopsided system where average men feel completely overlooked. And while people often point out that there are more men than women on dating apps, that fact doesn't comfort men. It reinforces the feeling that the odds are stacked against them. When you're competing in a space where you're outnumbered, judged in seconds, and compared endlessly, burnout is inevitable. Eventually, many men don't quit because they don't want connection. They quit because they're exhausted. Another major factor is social media comparison. Today's men are constantly exposed to images of ideal masculinity. Men who are rich, confident, muscular, socially dominant, emotionally unshakable, and always desired. Whether it's influencers, dating coaches, or so-called alpha male content, the message is clear. If you're not exceptional, you're invisible. Even when men intellectually know that social media is curated and exaggerated, emotionally, it still hits. Scrolling through endless posts of men who seem to have everything can quietly erode self-worth. Men start to feel like they can't compete, not just with other men in their real lives, but with a fantasy standard that no one fully lives up to. Dating, under these conditions, feels less like a mutual connection and more like a performance review they keep failing. Then there's the issue of porn as a coping mechanism. When dating feels inaccessible and intimacy feels out of reach, many men turn to porn to meet unmet needs. Psychologists have pointed out that some young men use porn as a way to cope with loneliness, rejection, and frustration. It provides a sense of relief without vulnerability, without rejection, and without effort. But while porn can temporarily numb the pain, it often deepens the problem. Over time, it can reduce motivation to pursue real relationships, distort expectations, and increase feelings of isolation. What starts as an escape can quietly become a substitute for real connection, and that substitution makes returning to dating even harder. The pandemic only intensified this pattern. Lockdowns reduced real-life social interaction while screen time skyrocketed. Many men became more isolated, more digitally dependent, and more disconnected from in-person dating experiences. When the world reopened, some men found that they no longer had the confidence, skills, or emotional energy to jump back in. Mental health plays a huge role here too. Men are often discouraged from expressing vulnerability, seeking help, or admitting loneliness. When they struggle in dating, they're more likely to internalize it as personal failure rather than a systemic issue. Labels and stereotypes can make things worse, causing men to feel ashamed for wanting connection or embarrassed for struggling. As a result, giving up on dating becomes a form of self-protection. It's not always a loud, angry decision. Sometimes it's quiet and gradual. Fewer attempts, less hope, more emotional distance. Men convince themselves they're better off alone, not because it's true, but because it hurts less than trying and failing again. What's important to understand is that this isn't about blaming women or demonizing dating apps. It's about recognizing that the current system leaves a lot of men feeling invisible, inadequate, and disconnected. When effort isn't rewarded and vulnerability isn't met with empathy, withdrawal becomes understandable. The conversation around the male dating crisis needs more compassion and honesty. Men who are struggling aren't broken, and they aren't alone. Acknowledging the emotional toll of modern dating is the first step toward addressing it in a healthier way. So the real question isn't just, why are men giving up on dating? It's, how do we create a culture where connection feels possible again? For everyone. If any of this resonated with you, you're not alone. Your experiences are valid, and your feelings matter. Let's keep the conversation open, honest, and human.